Mr. Kolin Veldman. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Dom?
I'm good.
Good.
Real good. I'm glad to be on the line with you. And is this more social than our usual coaching meetings, or what would this be?
I think it probably is. I'm glad to be here too. I'm thankful for what you do for us. So
Oh,
this is exciting.
thanks, man. Thank you. I'm excited to have
No
you on
worries.
here.
Good.
You've done a lot of great things. But listen, people on this show don't know who Kolin Veldman is, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe, but
I mean, how could they not know who you are?
yeah, right. My kids tell me I'm a big deal. So
Didn't you say they got you a coffee mug that says
yeah,
that?
they did. So
Did you ask them? Did you ask them to get that for you for Christmas?
no, I didn't. I'm not that arrogant.
So for people who don't know you, Kolin, can you tell us who you are and why, of all the people in the world, you'd be talking to a group of cabinet makers and architecture mill workers and furniture makers around the English-speaking world?
Well, yeah, my name's Kolin Veldman. I am the owner of K&S Woodworks in Linden, Washington State, as far northwest as you can get in the country, I think. I'm 20 minutes or half hour across the line from you, Dom.
I know. I always say that with a bad attitude and a good arm, I could hit your place with a rock.
Yeah, you probably could. But no, we've had a cabinet shop here for 15 years. I have been growing and growing for the last 15 years steadily. The last 5 years has kind of taken a different route, and we've started doing different work. A lot of residential work to begin with, and now we're getting into more commercial, institutional, and yeah, we're doing some hotels and some schools as well. So how did I get here? Well, I started working with you, Dom, about a year ago. And we met at the CMA conference in Chicago.
That's right. I remember that.
Excellent. Yep. Just stumbled upon each other and found out we were actually 45 minutes away from each other where we live. So, but no, it went from there, and we started working together, and you asked me to be on the show. So here I am.
There you are. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, let's go back. Thanks, Kolin, for that. Let's go back even further. How did you get started as a cabinet maker? Were you just born a cabinet maker, or did you have to become a cabinet maker?
Well, I always worked with wood. My dad was a dairy farmer. He sold the cows when I was 14. So I took his milking barn and threw a bunch of tools in there when I was 13, 14 years old.
Wow.
So I got my Grizzlies down the road, Grizzly Industrial in Bellingham here. So I loaded up on some Grizzly tools and just started doing it in there. And then I went and worked for a guy when I was, probably 20 years ago, building cabinets, actually doing this stuff. And then I said, I can do this. So I went out on my own.
Do you remember your first job? Do you remember that first job?
Yes, I do. And you see the Lord's blessing in that, because I started my business, and here I sat with, well, what kind of work do I do? And my insurance agent, who I had contacted for insurance for the shop, called me up and said, hey, my mom's kitchen burned. That was my first job.
So the insurance agent's burned kitchen.
Yes, Providence is big. So
yeah, no kidding.
It was excellent, and that's where I went, and away we went. Never slowed down. So it's good.
What do you think? How are you different today? I mean, obviously your company is bigger and you're more focused, and you're obviously doing the right things. But how are you how is Kolin different than that first job versus now?
Well, the first job I was a complete technician and no entrepreneur. Some would argue you have to be, because you ended up in business, but it was rear end up, head down, and just go. And now I would consider myself, over the past 5 years, to change more into a business-minded person. I was more of a cabinet maker back then, more of a businessman right now. Not completely, but more.
Well, you and I talk about that a lot, right? The goal of you and I working together is to be more of a businessman who happens to own a cabinet shop, which is different than a cabinet guy who owns a cabinet shop. It doesn't even sound like it's much of a difference until you sit down with a glass of scotch and go, what do they mean? Yeah. And then
it was something I fought. I hated the idea of being, I hated the idea of being a businessman, about being up here while other people did your work. And I didn't like that thought. I fought it a little. I was more of a technician than an entrepreneur, if we go back to the E-Myth terms.
Yeah.
But it changed in me, and I love what we're doing now. I love what I'm doing now. I still work with the guys on the floor, here and there, but at a different level. And I love it. It's changed me.
And you have your leadership style though is you're an engaged leader. You're faith and heart forward. You're there to help everybody, and you're all there to do a project. That's my observation of you.
Yeah, we include everybody. We really put it out there to get our employees ideas, to get their opinions on stuff that we're doing. We're on the verge of a big move right now into a new shop in the next year.
Yeah.
So including the employees and getting them involved in that is huge for me. And I'm one that needs somebody else involved like that. I don't like doing things on my own.
Perspective. What do you need when you say that? What is it you're looking for?
Well, I think I run on the side of being a little insecure about my own ideas on my own. So if someone's there to say, no, this is good, or no, we're going to need to think that way more, it helps me a lot. It helps me a ton.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and you've made some big changes. I mean, some new equipment that has made a big change in your shop very recently.
We ended up being busier than what we can handle, and we ended up switching our construction method over to a dowel and bore system.
Yeah.
Put a dowel inserter in, we put a new edge bander in, put a case clamp in, all in the last year, of which this system has nearly paid for itself already, but not quite. But yeah, with the help of the CMA members, I value a ton on the forum and whatnot, just to find out how to do these changes, what to look for, what to watch out for.
Right.
It was invaluable.
Yeah. That CMA board sounds like a very active and intelligent place to hang out.
Yeah, I said to one of the guys the other day, you can post on the forum anything you want, and then there's no shame, there's no nothing. It is a welcome place to be, to find out the most simplest things if you need.
Right.
And I love it for that reason. So
I'm sure if Amanda is listening to this right now, she's smiling from ear to ear.
Yeah, no, I'm not a board member. I'm just a member using it, and it is an excellent organization. It's taken me to the next level.
Didn't I say let's turn off our cell phones before this call starts? And then what did I do?
You did say that.
What did I do? Gee, I'm so sorry. As I said, I just got this new cell phone, and I'm really only able to handle technology at about the level of a musical Christmas card.
Oh, you sound like me.
And here I've got this phone now. I just got it yesterday, and I'll never use its full capacity. I'm never going to. And now I just learned how to turn off the ringer in the middle of an interview. I'm sorry for that.
Nice. No worries. I'll forgive you.
You made me think of a question, though, a second ago about your growth from being that guy who, you went and worked at another shop. You had a barn to move your equipment into.
Yep.
And then as part of your, getting ready to start the business, the insurance adjuster said, can you do my mom's house from a plane? But how could you have gotten where you are today? I don't want to say faster, but what would you have done differently? If you look back with wisdom, what would you have done differently in those starting days to get where you are today, faster, smarter, better, wiser?
Listen to people. That would have been a big one. I've learned a lot about myself in the last few years. We've grown in a way that has been, over the last 3 years, we've probably grown more than we did in the first while. Equipment wise, job wise, we're trying to get into, we don't want to be bidding the $7,000 to $10,000 jobs anymore. We want to be bidding larger jobs, so we're doing less of it.
You make me so happy when you say that.
I make myself happy to hear it. So, we used to be turning out 300 bids a year, and now, or 250 bids a year, and we can get into that larger job, larger volume. We can really tone that down into 100 bids a year or so, and run with it. So,
no, please keep going. So number one was listen to people.
Yeah.
It sounded like you had a couple of ideas there.
Yeah, the other one is I'm not a risky person. I don't like taking risk. Had I done a little more of some buying some more tools, getting ahead, it took me a while to hire an employee or more employees. I had an employee a year in, and he's still with us. And then had I done some larger steps like that, I probably could have done some more quickly, but I wasn't comfortable with it.
Right.
So in a way, I'm glad I didn't grow any quicker than I did. I was not a businessman when I started. I think I told you this. My accountant gave me, or my bookkeeper gave me a book when I started. It was called Whoops, You're in Business. And that's exactly how I felt for the first 10 years.
Oh, gee. I didn't know.
How did this happen? And, which way do I go? I was riding a wave of, we were doing good. So I was just working. You want me to tell you where my numbers were and where I was making money and not making money? I couldn't tell you in the first years. I just worked. And now you're helping me know my numbers, learn my numbers, see my numbers, and run with them.
And make grow. Decisions based on them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because I'm not a numbers guy, and you and I and all the other people I work with, we talk about numbers all the time. And I'm the first to say that if you show me a spreadsheet, it's boring. Like I can't visualize it. But as soon as that gets turned into patterns, if I could see a pattern, if I know that we're high on this number, low on this number, if there's a graph, sometimes that helps. Those things I find are the most impactful because I don't have to study it. I can just glance at it and say, hey, that line is moving down and to the right. It should be moving up and to the right.
Right.
And then I know what decisions.
Hopefully we understand that.
Yeah. I think the other thing that's been impressive in watching you is you actually take action. And maybe that's part of what it is to work with me, but because we talk on a regular basis. So you say you're going to do something, and then by the time we talk again, you've either done it or it's on its way.
You don't know how many I meet with Dom. I meet with you on Wednesdays. It is.
Yeah.
You don't know how many Tuesdays I'm scrambling.
Oh, you're not supposed to tell me that.
I know I probably shouldn't, but you know what? It's the truth. But I've started to, my list taking and making my list making. I'm delegating more, and I'm doing it earlier and trying to be more, manage my time better. So it's working and helping me out immensely. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's actually, the topic of today is supposed to be, now that I have my numbers, here's what I see in my future. And I know one of the exciting things coming up is this real estate thing, this beast.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that's exciting and scary all at the same time, especially when you start getting numbers in for what building costs are right now and how quickly they go up. I mean, we're talking months that they're different and they go up.
Yeah, you mean the price of raw materials. Yeah. Well, right now as we know, during this time in the history of where we live, material prices are going up all the time.
Right.
But if you look at this decision you're about to make and you sort of hold it over the legacy of the Veldman name, what's this decision today going to do for, I'm going to take it out to your grandkids level. So let's say 40 years from now, what does that mean to the Veldman name 40 years from now? Well,
I hope that at that point, I can be, we're purchasing our property. I got two partners, which I'm very thankful for. Especially this, like I said before, I'm not a risky guy. So having two partners in this with me is very helpful. But I hope to have this business, I want a great business. I don't want a good business. I want a great business that continues after I am gone.
Right.
So hopefully at that point, my kids, my grandkids, whoever can benefit from what we're doing here. Yeah. The lot there, that's a retirement for us. And hopefully we can keep it that way and then pass it down and have it there for somebody else. So
that's a businessman's perspective or entrepreneur. And you said you're a reluctant entrepreneur. I won't use the word, but that's very much a businessman's perspective versus what you call a technician from the book, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber.
Yep. Yeah.
Would you have been comfortable making that kind of decision, this kind of real estate decision, let's say 5 years ago?
I started looking. The funny part is I started looking about 6 years ago.
Oh, wow.
5 years ago, we started looking. I was starting to, I'd say about 7 years ago, my gears in my head started grinding and being like, no, our employees wanted to stay. They wanted to, some of them wanted a career. Some of them they loved it. So I was like, I need to do something to allow that to continue. So that's where the thought process started going for growth. And
this started because you wanted to take care of your people?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Well, they weren't going anywhere, so I had to do something. They weren't leaving, so. But no, that's probably where it started. And then and this piece that we bought that we're building on was the first piece we looked at 5 years ago.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So I was not ready 5 years ago. I would not have been comfortable with it.
Right.
Of course, I wanted it, but it wasn't meant to be. And thankfully, I'm not in control, and I didn't end up getting it because we would have not been ready
back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now today we're closing on it in a month or so, and hopefully we'll be moved in there in the next year sometime. So it's kind of a scary time to be doing this, but I have no reason to think that we're going to be in trouble, that things are going to slow down in such a way that we can't continue.
I mean,
so I've been provided for 15 years. Hindsight's 2020. I'd rather look back on that and say, look, we've always been provided for, and it will continue. So, yeah.
Well, you do quality work. You have great contractors you work with. They keep bringing you work. You've changed your construction methods. You have more control over your numbers. There's a confidence in you now that's a little different than the confidence that we had before we started.
Yep, definitely.
Actually, if you look at these numbers that you and I have created on paper and the things we're tracking, which one of those do you think maybe helps you sleep more at night? Or the other way to ask it is, what was frustrating you before that you've now started to get a handle on?
Well, like I said earlier, I knew I was making money because we were doing well. The numbers were always going up. I was buying some stuff, equipment, and paying it off and doing okay. We got our first CNC 6-7 years ago. Oh yeah, 7 years ago. Wow. So we knew we were making money, but I didn't know where.
Right.
I had this arbitrary shop rate that I literally threw in there when I started.
Yeah.
And kind of said, oh, it's probably about time for a hourly increase. So I would. And then I'd just go keep working. So I didn't know where the money was being made. And here, you get in a big contract with some spec home workers and thinking, oh, we're really slamming these things out and doing well in these things. Well, go look at your numbers.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're surprised at the fact that these spec homes are killing you. And actually there's another job you don't like doing that is actually bringing the money in. So let's find a better way to do those jobs. So
yeah, it's interesting. You're talking about what we learned from doing the EOJ report.
Exactly.
Just the intelligence that comes from that. It's just there in black and white. You look at it, you're like, oh, well, now I know, right? One of the things.
To a business guy, this is obvious, but I was not a businessman. It had to be told me by somebody else. It had to be shown me. I was more the idea of, meetings, get rid of the meetings, get your butt in the shop and work. Let's get the work done. But having better meetings, shorter meetings, all of this, it has.
Oh my goodness. You're just more, better, shorter meetings, right? I mean, but that's it. Because we have to, communication in our company is like breathing. Like unless we're exhaling and inhaling, we're just going to go purple in the face and fall over. Right. And if I'd ask anybody that's frustrated in their business right now about how to grow it or change something, the answer might be as simple as have more, better, shorter meetings. Now, 30% of the people listening to this episode have just hung up. They're like, no, never going to work. Won't work for me. Well, I'm glad they left, because they have to open your mind to new ways of doing things. When you're stuck, you got to find another way of doing something, right? A sledgehammer doesn't work for everything.
Nope, exactly.
Right.
So, but yeah, we had meetings, and we just had to stay on task and get to the point and stay short and pointed.
How have your meetings changed? Are they now, what were they like before and what are they like now?
Well, before we had them and they were good, but they might not have been. I've delegated a lot. Different guys take on different meetings. I don't run them. I run our production meeting on Friday afternoons.
Yeah.
And that's it. I have an accounting meeting with my bookkeeper that no one really runs. We meet, but I call. There's probably 3 other meetings. We do a lean PDCA meeting in the morning for 10 minutes. That's it. That each of the guys in the shop take turns running. So each day a different guy will run. Then we do a safety meetings, which we do the same thing. We make the guys run them. They take turns in different topics. But everything is pointed. None of these meetings are more than 15 minutes. Even the safety meetings, we do them often enough to where we can keep them short. Mm-hmm. But the only one I run is the production meeting on Friday afternoon. What jobs are coming? What's in the queue? What's in the shop? What's coming in next week? And our shop foreman will take it from there. So delegating some of these meetings out has been a big thing off my plate. And the other guys are growing with it. So,
well, yeah, I mean, what's the benefit that you see in having other people run the meetings?
It's not in my brain. I got an open head, and that's you. I mean, I have it where if I have to do something little and I don't want to do it, or if I don't know how to do it, it's this massive thing in the back of my head. It might just be a little thing, but it's still back there.
Right.
So if I don't have to worry about those things, it's great.
Yeah. And when I look at it as a business coach, I'm going to use business coachy words here, but you're training your guys to run it while you're not there.
Right. Totally. And that was my goal. And that's been a goal for a long time for this place to operate without me here. And my sister worked for me for a while. And when she started, that was her number one goal. And she pushed me into that idea. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of my growth mindset changed when she was here doing that. So kudos to her on that.
Now I'm dying to ask this question because it's a loaded question. But now that you've got other people running the meetings and the numbers are under control, have you been able to take any personal time?
Well, I went skiing one afternoon with my daughter. So yes, I have been.
I know people might recognize the picture if they follow the Facebook page. That was you, but we couldn't tell it was you. You had the mask on, the goggles, and I showed it to my wife. I'm like, Dee, this is Colin and his daughter out skiing today.
Don't take your mask off on the mountain.
It gets freezing cold. But anybody who may have seen that picture, this is Colin. But yeah, you and I talked about it, I think at our coaching meeting, and the next day you were gone. You just went skiing.
No, it wasn't the next day, Dom. I got on the meeting. Your first question was, how you feeling today? And I said, well, my daughter just asked me to go skiing this afternoon. And you had said, go. And I was like, well, and then I got thinking halfway through the meeting and I ran out of our meeting and told my daughter to get her gear.
That's right.
We went 20 minutes later. So
yeah. Well, and you're blessed to live so close to great ski.
Oh yeah.
A great ski hill. But the point is you got to do what you wanted to do with your daughter, what's better than hanging out with your daughter for a day skiing. Yeah. But I think it comes back to the point that things were under control. You have guys in the shop that know what's going on because they're running those meetings. We have numbers that we're tracking that tells you where the hot spots are and where everything was good, and everything was good. So you were able to step away and do whatever you want.
We hired a shop foreman, which was a big step for us. And knowing my numbers again was the huge thing for that. Can I afford to hire a guy at that rate?
Yeah.
Or do I have to go find somebody and train them again? And we're at a point now where we needed it. He came in here, and I tell you, the jobs that started going through our office was the bottleneck all of a sudden because we had to get our jobs out so quick. Yeah. And our office, we've been working on lean so much in the shop that we didn't realize we needed to do the same lean concept in the office.
In the office, right.
So, but knowing your numbers with hiring someone like that is a big thing. It's not a small thing to hire a shop foreman. It's a big step. We took it 4 months ago, and I do not look back, and I'm confident we can pay him and pay him well because we know our numbers like that.
Yeah. And we know which jobs are making us money.
Right. Well, sure. We're still working on that. I still want to do those jobs, but they're not making me money.
Yeah. And you now have the data in front of you that when you're ready to make the decision, because you still get to make the decision.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a reason to take a job. If a big GC asks you to do a vanity and you don't really want to do vanities, but it's the vanity for his house or his cabin. All right. yeah, we do great vanities. I'm on it, right?
Exactly.
You're going to do that job, right?
And the guys will beat me over the head for it. Colin, it's a $4,000 vanity. And I'm like, well, look who it's for. You've done $70, $80, $150,000 jobs for these guys. And I'm not going to say no to that. Yes, I should say no to the one-off, I always hate the sound of this, but it is what you have to learn in growing is you have to say no. And I am not good at that.
We do have to say no at some point. I think when we calculated the shop rate, your actual shop rate, not, oh, it should be this, or this is what the market will bear, but your actual shop rate, that becomes a lot clearer. Because now you look at a vanity or a shoe rack and you're like, can't do.
No.
Can't do it. I can, but here's the price.
But you know what? When I started, I had someone tell me one time, the small ones get you the big ones. And I was like, yeah, that's a good motto for me to have because I never say no. So it was an easy motto for me to have. It was an excuse. That's why I take the small ones.
Yeah.
But as you grow, and this is what I don't like the sound of, but it's the truth is when you grow, you can't take those small ones. Your overhead, the cost of doing that small job is going to cost you way too much. So what I found is I teamed up with a guy who is a one-man shop, and that's what he wants to do. He wants no more. And I always warn him, watch out, you're good. Something's going to happen. But I teamed up with him, and now all my small jobs, I can refer all of a sudden.
Right.
The first question someone asks you on the phone is, well, who do you recommend? And I never have anybody. But then I teamed up with this guy, and he takes all those jobs for us, and he does them, and he's happy.
He's happy, right? He's out there.
And the customer's happy. Yeah.
Yeah. And it does it still come under Kolin?
No, I don't have the I don't know. I just don't have the capacity right now to manage the small ones like that.
Oh, so you just push them right off to him and let him sell it and bill for it, quality control and everything.
Yeah. So I say, here he is. Here's his number. And yeah, you know what? It could be a revenue stream of some sort, but we're doing fine.
Yeah, I would say.
So
you're doing fine and doing finer every day. And I'm, we're not going to share everything on the call, but you're doing great. Yeah.
So,
well, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. If we can grow a little doing what we're doing, that's fine. But I don't want to. No need to knock off every aspect of the market. So
what do you think is going to be the biggest change if I was looking in from the outside once you move into this new facility? What's going to look different?
Well, I'm in an old milking barn, so that'll look different.
Jeez, I wanted to say earlier, I hope you hosed the thing out before you bolted the machines down because
we tore the floor out, everything.
Oh, okay, because I've been in a lot of milking barns.
This is the same barn that I started when I was 12. It's my dad's. It's how I started. I couldn't do it any other way. He offered it and gave me a very reasonable rent, and that's where I started. So, but besides the building, I can't wait to look a little more professional, for one.
So, do you think you'll have a showroom now, or what?
That was a big thing in our move. Is I was on the East Coast over there, and we toured a couple showrooms, and it struck me how incredible that was, and talking to these owners, they said, if I can get a customer in here into my showroom,
right,
the chance of sale goes way up.
Yep.
And I have Alexa in the office, and she does an excellent job designing and talking to customers. And for her to be able to walk out of the office to a example and show somebody, hey, this is what a magic corner looks like. And for them to be like, oh, wow. And
we need that.
Yeah. They sell it. And, there's a few $100 item just sold all of a sudden, instead of trying to explain it and then having to take the time to send them a link to a, Hayflow website or something to find something out.
Yeah.
So we would love to have a good sized showroom there, and be able to have people come in. We got a good street frontage there. It's right off of a main highway, but on it's actually on Main Street in Linden here.
Okay.
But it's right off the main highway. So it's not on the highway, but it's right there, and it's perfect for a storefront and for a showroom.
And for your staff to get there. It's easy.
Yeah.
Easy
All my
commute.
staff lives in Linden. We had some lots we looked at out further, half hour out, 15 minutes out, but our guys live in Linden. They love Linden. They want to stay here.
Yeah.
I love it here. So that's, as far as we do a lot of work in Seattle. So I-5 is 20 minutes from our shop. So it's easy to get on the highway. I could have looked at something closer to the I-5, but nobody likes to move out there. So it means a lot to me when my employees like where they're at too.
Well, like you said, you're in the top left corner of America.
Yeah.
You're in the top.
Everything we do is south. So
everything's down south. Seattle's down south.
Yeah, exactly. So when we do a lot of work, we got a crew in Seattle today. It's an hour and 40 minutes down there. It's a lot of road time, but 90% of our work's in the shop. Our guys go down there for a day or two and install, and then they're back up here. So, yeah. What's
something that you wish everybody, something that you've learned that you wish everybody knew in the cabinetry industry, the people we're talking to here?
Oh man. Well, the thing that's rawest in my mind, I guess, is our construction method. We explored different construction methods.
Yeah.
We used to, butt, nail, and screw cabinets together. And we started exploring and just changing our construction method, looking into different machinery, investing in some of this stuff. It was night and day. We saved so much time.
Are you comfortable saying percentage-wise how many hours difference it made on a carcass manufacturer?
Oh, shoot. We used to have 3 guys pounding cabinets together for, if we had an average house, kitchen, bath, two bathrooms, laundry room, maybe some living room built-ins, we'd have 3 guys on that for 2.5, 3 days building, putting everything together. If everything's cut out, and that's with everything cut out, ready to be put together.
So already machined in racks, ready for assembly.
Yeah. So our assembly time went from 2-3 days to the other day we did a whole house in 6 hours.
Yeah. And for anybody listening, that was not an audio blip.
No, it was not.
Yeah. You just kind of
guys that have done it. I mean, I salute the guys on CMA again for, I posted questions on there asking about what to do here and there. Yeah. But for guys that have done it, they know what I mean.
It's kind of exciting, isn't it?
Oh, it is a thrill ride. This is where I've turned into someone who loves to just study what we're doing and figure out better ways to do it.
Right.
And this was just a thrill ride for me to see this happen.
Yeah. Well, you did a lot of research. You asked a bunch of the right questions up front, and then you pulled the pin. You didn't think about it and think about it and think about it.
Yeah, I don't know what came to me there because I usually don't do that.
Well, but you did. Well, we had good conversations about this. There was a lot. It
was your fault.
Sure. I actually, you know what? I'd go back actually a level and say I think that if I look at not all, but most of the people that I work with and have worked with for the last 20 years, they are in an industry association.
Okay.
Because they at some point they've gotten their head around the fact that, okay, I'm running the business. I know how to run the business. I'm pretty confident. We're making money, but I don't know how. Very common that I hear that. But at some point they also reach out and they join a group. And I'm not doing this for Amanda or for Doug Haig or for any of I'm not, right? But it doesn't, we're only here talking about woodworking, but industry associations exist for all trades, HVAC, plumbing, roofing, mold remediation, siding. There's industry associations for garage doors,
and then different size of business in that particular field. I mean, then you get into AWI, and I mean, it's a whole different level. So
it's another thing, right? Or AUMAC up in Canada, NKBA is a little more on the design side. But the difference is, I think, the thought process of people that have gotten their business to the point where they say, maybe I'll go to that. I'm going to take COVID off the table for now. Maybe I'll go to that meeting on Tuesday night, or maybe I'll log into that forum and ask a question. But they're opening their minds to the fact that, okay, I've got me figured out. Let's go figure out where I can bolster some of that with other people's insight. Right. And that's where the value of industry associations come in.
Yeah, and to be sitting, Chicago, for example, to be sitting around there having breakfast with a bunch of guys in your very boat, trying to figure out the same thing you are, it's invaluable. to have that contact.
Yeah.
So
I just did a presentation called "Are You the Captain or the Lighthouse?" And it's all about, those are leadership styles, management styles, but it really comes down to the numbers that you were talking about here, right?
Right.
And so a captain is reactive. A lighthouse is proactive. It's scanning the horizon at all times and lighting up the obstacles, right? That's
what do you call the guy running from the lighthouse to the
Coast Guard. That's a Coast Guard. But I did that which guy do you feel like, the captain or the lighthouse?
Oh, I am the captain, big time. I am reactive as anything. I sent an email out this week to a general contractor we're working with saying, hey, I'm being proactive on my schedule. And she says, oh, you must be catching up. I said, no, I'm just turning over a new leaf. It didn't work.
We'll get you. We'll turn you into a lighthouse soon enough.
Yeah. So
well, this dashboard, the numbers, the dashboard we created, the EOJ report, the meeting rhythms, the systems around that, think about a lighthouse. That light spins around and pulses, and it lights up the hazards, right? It lights up the snags. It lights up the rocks. That's what you want to do. Anyways, this was an AWI group out east, and what a great group of people. It was the nicest call. Everybody was engaged. We had some jokes, took lots of notes. I don't think you can't recreate that if you're just trying to be in a silo on your own.
No. And then, we were, in Chicago again, they had a night. I think that was their annual convention. So it was a little bigger. I've been on some other things that were a little smaller, but still just as good. Yeah. But just be sitting there at night, having a drink with a fellow business owner and, just talking about business. It is invaluable.
Yeah. I can't wait
to help me a lot.
Go back to those things.
I know. I'm sick and tired of it. I can't wait to be able to do that. And, you had a podcast a while back about getting out of the shop that I heard.
We'll get a coffee.
It goes against every bone in my body from when I started. The mentality I had when I started was, no, I need to stay here. I need to keep going. I need to get work done. But getting out of the shop for the few days, spending it with other guys in your field is,
well,
excellent.
The day you went skiing with your daughter, did you for a moment think about work? Did you come to some realization? Bolt something? No.
When I came back home and saw that the guys' trucks were still in the driveway, shoot. So I changed and went back out there.
Small steps, Colin. Small steps.
It's all good.
Well, thank you for joining us here today. I mean, I know I pulled you away from the shop. It's valuable time, and you're getting ready to move, and you've got new construction methods. You've got numbers to review before our meeting in 5 days from now. Although you'll start 3 days from now, apparently.
No, actually, well, you've taught me how to delegate that, so other people are putting some numbers in. So it's not all me, and that's key too, is finding the right people and putting them in the right place, which we're trying to do.
Yeah, I love it. Excellent. Well, Mr. Veldman, thank you. If people want to get in touch with you, how do they reach you? You're on the CMA forum?
Yeah, I'm on CMA forum. They can call me. My KNS Woodworks is online. I shouldn't advertise my website right now. It's not really.
We're getting there.
But
it makes for a great before picture. It makes for a great before picture.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they can email me, Kolin, Kolin, at ks-woodworks.com. Get a hold of me that way. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, Colin, thank you. I'm so proud to work with you. You just put everything in place, and then you just march forward and do the next thing, and you're just engaged. You're out there to make it happen. So I love it.
Oh, no, I really appreciate your help. So it's going well, and we're thankful for that.
Excellent. So, all right, Colin. Well, you have a great day. I'll let you get back to the shop. Thanks.
All righty. Thanks, Don. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Well, it's time for Dragon's Eggs with Rick Tack. This is becoming one of my favorite parts of the show, where we get some wisdom from Rick, the mind of a foreman, looking at the operations of a floor and how you can make it run a little bit better every single day. Rick, what do you have for us today?
Well, I've got a really good guideline for owners, managers, supervisors, and it's watching the process and watching your people. And think of this: 1 step equals 1 second equals $1. So for every step that is unnecessary, that takes about a second, and it costs your company about $1. So if things are too far away and people have to look for those products, or they have to look for tools, or they have to look for information, and they're walking unnecessarily, then we have a potential waste there, and we need to see how we can pull things closer, make sure the product is there where they need it, make sure the information is there so that the workers can just get the job done. And that's really something that has been sort of spelled out in a lot of these SWIFT assessments that we've been involved with. So if your company needs help in trying to figure out what some of these wastes are and maybe doing away with some of these additional steps in time, then text the word SWIFT to 604-837-8361. And Dom, that's your dragon's egg for the day.
Great one. Thanks, Rick.